Welcome back to Sudbury Politics. We've got Richard Eberhardt, we've got Rachel Adrians, Jeff McIntyre. It's our continuing series. Oh my God, there's a Liberal convention happening. Rachel, tell us what this thing is.
So we've had the unique opportunity to meet each of the 6 leadership candidates that are running to be leader of the Ontario Liberal Party. So we met these candidates when they came to Sudbury for the leadership debate at that time. So pretty neat getting to see what their policy ideas are, what their potential visions are for the Liberal Party. If you throw it back to our post-debate comments, you'll see kind of who we thought was impressive to us in terms of their ideas and visions. So I think we can agree, obviously, we liked Kate, Graham, Brenda Hollingsworth, Alvin Tejo, and so that was a great chance to meet and speak with them.
Sure. And on the weekend, so just a couple of days from now, Liberal delegates are going to be attending a convention to choose a leader. And we know that Stephen Del Duca is way in the lead. Right. We knew that even at that debate. Like we heard that was a real thing even before they'd chosen the delegates. And, I think that sort of fills us with a little bit of concern about how the process is going to go and what it means going forward. As I'm not a Liberal, and I don't get to go to the Liberal delegated convention. No. For sure, no. But as a progressive, it's important to me where the Liberal Party ends up because they drag the center with them. I find if you've got a party, a Liberal Party that's trying things like universal basic income pilots, is investing in community development, is investing in poverty alleviation, those kinds of things, then you've got those become mainstream ideas. Right. If the Liberal Party's standing against those, it leaves the party on the left, the NDP, who struggles to get their message out in general, being the only party that's championing those things, and those things are important to me. So I like to see a Liberal Party that's a little bit more likely to be on the left, and we've heard that Stephen Del Duca is a little bit more on the right, more like a Dalton McGuinty to a Kathleen Wynne.
Yeah, I think this isn't so much about left-right for most of the Liberals that I've spoken to. It's more about steady hand governing, right? It's about putting somebody in that's not going to say things that are crazy, that don't surprise everybody in the party. We've seen the Trumpian style politics start to bleed into Canada. And I think the majority of Canadians don't want to see that anymore. And I think there's a lot of people on the right that would like to see, possibly a socially progressive government, but at the same time, economically responsible. And I think that's what a lot of the electorate is looking for. And I think that's what a lot of the Liberal Party is looking at trying to do with a guy like Del Duca.
So what do they gain? What do they lose?
Yeah, so I think heading into the convention, we know, of course, that Del Duca has, over 50% of the delegate count?
Of the pledged delegates.
Of the pledged delegates going into it. So I think Del Duca, as you were explaining, I feel like if he's going to be chosen to be the new leader, he's more of that safe choice for the party. I feel like it's more of a status quo choice as to what the Liberal Party has been like in the past, as you had mentioned. I think if we were talking about, Brenda, Kate, Alvin, in terms of their more progressive ideas, policy ideas, they were also progressive in their visions for the Liberal Party. I thought that, they really want to look at transforming the Liberal Party from what it was. I mean, we know obviously in the last provincial election, the party was almost, they did lose their party status. So I think those candidates really want to look at, and especially Kate had mentioned this, eliminating that top-down approach within the party and focusing a lot on inclusiveness, whether it's Indigenous peoples or Northern Ontario. Of course, we heard a lot about that. So I think, it's an important weekend.
So they're going to, there's nothing but top down happening right now in this leadership choice. I mean, there's a top down sort of the party's establishment, which in a lot of ways is all the party has left after sort of the last election. It's got an establishment base, has embraced Stephen Del Duca, not for ideological reasons, so I agree with that, as much as for this concept that he's the electable one of that group.
Right.
And maybe for the fact that it's kind of, the whole thing is kind of boring. And maybe I agree with Jeff, that maybe that's something that they think Ontario needs. But it's probably not what the Liberals need. I mean, the Liberals still need to engage voters. So they're going to go into a delegated leadership convention with one delegate way in the lead, one candidate way in the lead, and the rest of them are way behind, to the point where we haven't heard a thing from Michael Coteau, we haven't heard a thing from Mitzi Hunter, and there's really only Kate Graham that's sort of pursuing this come around me campaign. But if it's all decided in one ballot, does it really matter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We haven't heard a thing from the Globe and Mail, Toronto Star. We haven't heard a thing from the media about this thing.
That's right.
Because it's been a boring, boring race, because it's been a coronation.
Is there anything that can happen?
Yeah, well, to me, I don't understand why we would pick someone like Stephen Del Duca, who we think is safe to be that leader, when clearly, a leader like that wasn't what was wanted in the last provincial election. So in terms of, what we can be done, super delegates, when you're at the convention this weekend, please, in the interest of Liberal voters, the candidates who are running, which have great ideas and visions, I would plead that you not let Stephen Del Duca have the first ballot and let it go to a second ballot, only in the interest of allowing these other candidates to have a voice and to have its say, and to see what the potential of the Liberal Party in Ontario could become.
I think from a marketing perspective too, this is, like I said, it's been a boring, boring campaign. And if they don't want this story to be story number 5 on 7 things to start your day on Toronto Star, you're going to need some drama at this convention. Yeah. And if you go through a first ballot win for him, it's not news. And we've got coronavirus happening. You have a federal conservative campaign happening. You have Trump that's going to say something crazy that day. You have all of these things that are going to happen. Mm-hmm. To be a viable news source that day, you need to do something. And to create a star out of Del Duca that can beat Doug Ford or what's her name? Andrea Horwath.
Jeff.
I think she's new. To have a chance against these people, you need to do some star building.
Yeah.
Your delegated convention is also an opportunity to build some substars, right? To build a bench for the Liberal Party, which you don't have right now because you don't have anybody in the party anymore. So creating a bit of star power for a Kate Graham, for an Alvin, for a Brenda, these people that can go out and float trial balloons for you and put policy out that can see if it gets some attention. If you go to first ballot, all of these people are forgotten. You have one guy you're betting everything on, and it's crazy.
So super delegates, Ontario Liberal Party, I am not one of you. We are not one of you, but you have a lot of agency. You're not tied down to supporting one candidate. All the other delegates there are. They have no choice in the first ballot. They have to go in and cast the ballot for the candidate they were elected to vote for. You don't. If Del Duca gets a first ballot nod, you're going to get a boring convention. You're going to leave good ideas on the table, and you're going to show the rest of the people around the Liberal Party of Ontario that the old road is the only road. So from summary politics to the OLP superdelegates, vote for someone else on the first ballot so that Stephen Del Duca has to show the party at that convention that he's the one that can lead the OLP in the next election.
Yeah.
And I like Kate.
She likes Kate. I think we all like Kate.
Well, there were some good candidates there.
See you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.